Welcome back to Unapologetic Me, the podcast where we talk about careers, life, leadership, and all the plot twists no one puts on LinkedIn. Today's episode is special, not just because my guest has worked across India, New York, Frankfurt, and Boston, not just because she spent over a decade in corporate and institutional banking, navigating risk, governance, and leadership at a global scale, but because today's conversation is about real growth. The kind that happens when you move countries and realize success looks different everywhere. When responsibility gets heavier, but so does perspective. When life changes in ways no career plan ever prepares you for, yet you rise anyway. This episode is about ambition with maturity, leadership without the ego, and building a career that evolves with you, not against you. Also, full disclosure, today's guest is my sister in law, which means I get a front row seat to both her brilliance and humanity behind her resume. So, buckle up. This one's thoughtful, honest, and refreshingly real. Srishti, welcome to the show, and I can't wait to record it with you.
Thank you so much, Ekta, for having me over. It's amazing to be on your show. I have been following for sure all the episodes, and it's great that we get to record this today. So really excited for what comes over.
All right, we're going to start. The first segment is called Foundations and a Global Perspective. And here we go with first question, which is um, you've lived and worked across multiple countries and cultures. How did moving geographies shape the way you think about growth, leadership, and adaptability?
I think what you mentioned, and also this is very important for everybody to understand. Adaptability is the key. I think it's very important for where you go because it's mostly you. I think it's your philosophy that doesn't change. It's how you adapt to different things. Obviously,
Hmm.
moving geographies, it's about learning about the different cultures, speeding up your thought process, speeding up your learning speed. I think that's very important. So, all of that has really cultivated. I mean, I have worked through with different people around different cultures. I think that has definitely helped me grow as a person and also shape my thoughts in a different way and also gave me a very different perspective around things which I wouldn't have had if I was just focusing on one geography for that matter.
Perfect. What parts of your professional identity stayed constant even when your environment was changing all the time?
I think it's mostly about the clarity of thought that I've had towards what I really want to do in my career, and I think it's very important for everybody who focuses. And I mean, my career progression has mostly been in a single field, so I think it's also important in terms of how deepen you get into your thoughts when you're working, and also in terms of how clear you are when you are working through different things because it's mostly that people need to trust you with
Hmm.
what they have. And I think that has been something that has been a constant with me. I would take appreciation in terms of people relying on me around things. And I think that has been something that has always been on my mind that whatever I do, wherever I am, this is something that is very important. And I really want to carry this through with me.
I absolutely love that you mentioned about trust because I feel like people kind of acknowledge success through tangible ways, like
Yeah.
maybe a rise in their promotion or pay scale and something like that. But the fact that you mentioned about trust and reliability, even though you worked in different geographies, says a lot about you and how you see your career as a leader. So I think that's very appreciative, and a lot of people will take cues from it when they watch this episode. All right, moving on. Was there a moment when stepping outside familiarity fundamentally shifted how you viewed your career path?
I think yes, and I think changing of the geographies as well. I think that has been something which was new, which was uncertain, and also this brings a lot of uncertainty when you are moving geographies. Also, like I moved from India to the
Yeah.
US. That was my first move, and I remember when I joined my first organization, I was like, the culture is different, the place is different, the people are different, the work is different, and in terms of like even if you're doing finance, I mean finance is really broad, but in terms of the little things like terminologies were different. So I think that is something that brings a lot of uncertainty. But obviously, I think one thing that I always had with me was that I had to believe that once you get into something, you can do it. It's not impossible. It's just that you need to be patient around things. You need to give time to things. And I think it works out. And that's what I carried when I moved to Germany as well, for my short term assignment that I was doing for some time. And I think all of these different changes, I think they gave me the adaptability to actually move forward with a lot of things that I was able to achieve because I was able to get through this uncertainty, the uncertain part of the environment that I was in.
I just feel like we're still in the first segment, and there are themes to your personality that I'm trying to figure out. One is that you take challenges headstrong. You don't shy away because you also realize that um, not many people get those opportunities. So once you get it, which means you're deserving of it, and you should go all gutso. And then the other thing which I really liked about the answer that you gave was the fact that having a self belief that no matter you don't you're not clear about what's written next or how you're going to face it, but just having that ability that you'll be able to navigate. I think that gives a lot of strength, and after that comes the whole thing of figuring out. So we're really glad that we covered all of this portion in the first segment itself.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next is called Leadership Beyond Titles. Alongside your core role, you've taken a lot of additional responsibilities, talking about from KYC oversight to leading teams in high accountability environments. What did stepping into these roles teach you about leadership that wasn't really written into your job description?
I think that's a very interesting question, and this is very close to my heart as well because this was a role that I took on in addition to what I was doing, and something very different. And also, I was only an analyst when I started doing that, so it was mostly like understanding a lot of different things. It was very exciting, and I was really thankful that I got this challenge in my plate at the time. And I think what it really taught me was that whatever we talk about, it's mostly about how much trust people have in you who work with you, and also how much of importance it is in terms of team players that you need to work with. I think team management, team building is very important. And I remember it is a very small example that what we used to do. It's mostly whenever we used to complete a KYC, we used to have a little bell in our room and we used to ring that, and that used to bring a lot of excitement in people. So all of that, all of that little things that we used to do, and what we actually managed to get through that whole project that we had, I think it really taught me that no matter what, if you have a great team and if you have their confidence and trust and you trust
Yeah.
them, and also vice versa, once that is there, it's established, then no matter what, come what may, you would be able to achieve whatever it is. So I think that was a very exciting, very important project, and also that gave me a lot of exposure. So really thankful to the times and also the teams that I worked with at the time that really got me to that.
And I don't know if you've realized, but I think you do know about this. You are a people person. You thrive on relationships because twice in the answer I heard the term trust and I heard the term people, which brings me to my next question, which is how has leading people, especially across different functions and cultures, changed the way you measure success as a leader?
I think the important part that I think of it is in terms of like the culture, it doesn't play an important role, but it's mostly about people because I think people are same throughout wherever we are. I think it's mostly about the psychological aspect of it, how much you can understand, how much of clarity of thought do they have in what they are doing, what is are they happy, are they not happy, what are they feeling. I think that is something that is very important. So I think leadership in itself across cultures is the same. It's mostly the people that matter. And I
Yeah.
think that has always been my understanding so far of how leaders can be good leaders if they work with people, understanding what the people need, challenging their thoughts, and also getting to what they want in their careers also. I think these are some of the things that are very important when we talk about leadership and we talk about different people.
Amazing. So we spoke about your role and how you went above and beyond through those certifications. Tell us, what is the one leadership lesson no MBA or a certification really prepares you for, but you realize during your term?
I think it's I think we go through the MBAs. We do a lot of different presentations and also meeting people, do the networking and stuff. I think it's the on the job training that is something that you never get to do, and that is the exciting part of it. The uncertainties that are involved, the different aspects, the coordinations. I think we learn a lot about it. We have the bookish knowledge, but when it actually gets in front of us, it's mostly okay. What's the next step? When do we need to take the decision? What it's going to entail? How is it going to be? So all of those different nitty gritties, I think that has been something which I was like, okay, I am well prepared. I'm an MBA. I go ahead and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do that. But then when you actually get to do it, you're like, okay, I didn't think about this. This is something that I'm learning as a new aspect of myself. It's mostly all of that.
It's like how everyone says it's only execution, which you do, you get to learn the ropes of the job. Everything else is just only on paper. Till you get into the
Totally.
floor, you have to realize. All right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Love everything, how it's going, but I think I'm way more excited about the decision making and the accountability part. Everything that the kind of decisions that you've made by far in your career have been touch wood. So on point. Here goes my first question. You've been involved in initiatives like Salesforce Leadership for the Americas, which is so profound, and organization wide projects focused on behavioral risk. Without getting into specifics, what did working at that level teach you about decision making as well as accountability?
I think that's very interesting, and that's also something nice to talk about, and also for the listeners here as well, because I think when we talk about these kind of projects or getting into these kind of roles, I think the rooms are very silent because what they think about and what they execute is something that is very different. So, in terms of, and I've realized that it's not mostly what the loudest opinion would be that would matter, but it's going to be mostly if you are able to stand through the decision that you took, even if that's an uncertain decision. And also, there are long term effects to whatever decision you've made. So, I think leadership at that level is very different. I was fortunate enough to work with the senior management on those projects, and I think it was a very good exposure that I received because you get to learn so much from different people who are much more experienced than you, who can teach you in terms of how things are. And I think I got that opportunity to learn a lot from them, a lot in terms of how macro thoughts can be. I mean,
Hmm.
when we take small little decisions, we are mostly thinking micro, but on the macro level, when you're making those kind of decisions, you're not just thinking months out, you're thinking years out. So
Yeah.
all of those decisions were something that actually helped me a lot because now I take on a couple of projects myself, and these were some projects that I was involved in. I was like, these are amazing projects. I mean, I get to do a lot of coordination with different people around different departments of an organization. And also I think at the senior level, I mean, the discussions are very different than how we envisage them at our level. So all of them were amazing experiences, but yeah, taught me a lot about that.
Well, firstly, I'm so flabbergasted or overwhelmed by these terminologies. So I'm sure that entails a lot of work. But then I also feel like, the best part that I'm learning while talking to you is that even though opportunities came your way, you yourself made the most of it. Of how much can you learn and how much can you um, bring your seniors' perspective, because eventually you see yourself leading teams and leading projects. So sometimes what happens is one takes the responsibility, but there's always this myopic view of let me just deliver how much has been asked, or if I'm just going to do as much. But it's good that you already had that perspective of leading teams at a global level across geography, which is something that people should admire and learn when they get those opportunities. Moving
Absolutely.
on. How do you personally approach responsibility when decisions have long term ripple effects? So, we heard that you're very pragmatic, you sit with the seniors and you understand their viewpoint. But what would be your answer to how do you personally approach these ones? Is there a
I
process, like
think
a step that you follow?
Yeah, and I think so. If you were talking to me 10 years back, or 10 years back, or 5 years back, Srishti, I think the answer would have been I just take decisions and I'm like, okay, what's next? The smaller, I mean, how do I say it? In terms of like, how is the decision going to be in the short
Mm,
term? But I think
mm,
now I pause and I zoom out for some time.
okay.
And my main mantra right now is it's mostly just to pause, zoom out, think of the long term effect, how it's going to be months out, how it's going to be years out. And I think this is
Mm,
something that I have learned through the years, and also what experience gets you. And and I think it's mostly both in my personal life and professional life. And I think, I mean, one good example is now I have a daughter. And one thing that she's really taught me is patience, because that is one thing where I was mostly, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? But now I'm like, okay, I think patience is something that I'm learning. I'm still learning. But yeah, these are very important aspects that I try to bring into the professional and personal life now, and I think that has been working for me so far. And I would want to keep it that way in the coming years as well.
perfect. So very well answered. All right, tell us, being a part of a CEO level conversation around behavioral risk gives you a very different seat at the table, which is like very reputed and of course comes with a lot of responsibility. So, how did that experience shape the way you think about accountability and leadership beyond numbers?
I think that's an amazing question again. I think so. What happens on this as well? I think behavioral risk is something that is very important for any organization that we work with, or even any organization that operates. I think because it mostly shapes what people are thinking, how
Hmm.
you can influence their thoughts, and how you can better what you do. So I was involved in these projects where it was mostly strategy building. I was involved in influencing the thoughts of how people operate. Not, I would not use the word influencing, but mostly getting them to a level where you can try to understand what they do, and also try to work around strategies and building strategies in terms of what is going to be the next step. So
Hmm.
these were very important things that we worked on, and this was again a part of the KYC whole wide project for the organization that I was working with. And these actually gave me a lot of exposure in terms of like understanding what people think, how you can help people to do better in their jobs, and also how you can get the organization to a level where you have been thinking, okay, this is the level that we want to achieve. How do we get to that? How do we get the people to get to that level so that we can achieve what we really want to? So all of these were very important things. And again, I think I got these opportunities very early on in my career, and thanks to my seniors at the time, because these were very important aspects of
Yeah.
how you get to a good leadership level at an organization, and also how you can build your network within an organization. Because I was working with people in different geographies at the time, and it was amazing. I met one of the colleagues actually when I was in Germany, and I met her, and it was amazing experience when I was like, okay, I think you're coming here from Netherlands and I'm coming here from the US. But yeah, I think these are very good projects that actually help you and also help the organization in the long run as well.
Perfect. All right, we're going to touch upon a different segment now, which is purpose, inclusion, and responsibility. Um, and this is my first question in this segment, which is you've also co led an employee resource group. And we already spoke about your affinity towards people and leading teams, which was focused on ability and inclusion. What drew you to that space, and how did it shape your understanding of leadership beyond performance metrics?
I think this is something that is very close to my heart. Again, I still co-lead an ERG, and this is on ability. This is an ability ERG. So we help people with different abilities, and also not help, but I would say in terms of getting them to a safe space where they can talk about different issues. They can talk
Mm,
about. They can have a safe space where they can open up within an
mm,
organization, and there are different topics that we discuss that are very close to different people. So I think this is very important for any organization to have, and I think this was a very good opportunity for me to be in. And I raised my hand the very first moment I heard about the ability ERG. I think it is very important that we help the communities that we are in, and also in terms of like shaping whatever we can to the best of our abilities and help people to get to a level, and also just be a good listener at some I
yeah,
mean sometimes it's just being a good listener on different things. People just need, I mean, when they work, it's mostly we talk about work, but also people are dealing with a lot of different things, and sometimes a nice shoulder or also a
yeah,
good ear is something that we all need at some point. So
yeah.
I'm very happy to co-lead that ERG currently, and I keep on working with my colleagues on this one. So yeah,
I feel
grateful
like
to be.
I'm going to take a little bit credit in how I structured all of these questions because I feel like we're learning so many aspects of your personality. Clearly, you've delivered a lot in terms of the role which was asked for you. That's the reason you got different opportunities in different countries. But then we spoke about the certifications and how that enriched and how you contributed in terms of a really well thought through resource and delivered above and beyond. But then when we heard about the ERGs and your contribution to it, I think it brings a different human side of yours because it's not really handed over to you, but then you mentioned that you raised your hand. So you clearly felt that this was something that needed to be highlighted and you picked it when it came as an opportunity. So I think people are going to pick different cues that it's just not the role that the organization wants you for. It's about different aspects and how you can experience your own self through different work and engagements, even in your corporate setup, which is
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Yeah,
right.
and very well put together, Ekta. This is something I think everybody, whenever they join an organization, it's not just the work that you do; it's
Yeah.
also being a good resource to the organization, and also vice versa. I mean, you are, and the organization also appreciates that, and I think it's a two-way street. It's
It's a
not
two-way.
just yeah, yeah.
And I also feel like I speak with a lot of people who are trying to enter the workforce, and their objective, like the usual questions, are how should I prepare myself, and for the recruiter or the people who are going to take my interview. But I think like there goes a thing which goes above and beyond just securing a seat at the table. It's about who you are as a person, and instead of thinking what the organization or what the role is, thinking from a perspective of how I can serve and be a good person, that goes a long way. And those are small little things that actually help you stand out also from the rest of the people because it's anyways good to you and that reflects in your work as well.
Yeah, and I would like to also add, I mean, and also it's the other way around as well, the organization as well. I mean, whenever we interview, I think most of the time what people do is they pitch themselves. But I think it's
Yeah,
also important for them to understand that the organization is also something that you're accepting, the culture of the organization. That is very important, and there should be a match, because if the ideologies don't match, what the
yeah,
organization's purpose is versus what your purpose is, I think then there's a disconnect. But if there
yeah.
is a connect there, and I think so far wherever I've worked, I have made sure that there has been that connect. So that's when you can grow, and that's when you can help the organization grow. Because if there is a disconnect between them, I
Yeah.
think it doesn't serve the purpose for either. So
And
I
it's
think that.
such a great point that you've made. And for all the listeners or viewers, let me also tell you that Shrishti sits on the board where she interviews people. So she has an idea of what goes in the mind of the employer. So when she's talking from experience because she's interviewed a bunch of people. And those are the kind of traits that people don't really share. But now that you're watching, you get a flavor of what goes on the other side of the table.
Thank you.
Alrighty, we've had a great conversation. Moving on. Oh, there's one more question in this segment that I wanted to ask. What role do you think leaders play in shaping environments that allow people to bring their full selves to work?
I think leaders play a very important role, and I can say that from my personal experience. I had, and I'll give you an example. I had one of my managers who I really respect. He has been an amazing leader, and when I joined the organization, it was funny because he used to be like, everybody needs to, whenever they come to my room in the cabin, they need to know what's going on in the markets, and he would start quizzing. And every time he would quiz, so it was literally like everyone was scared for the starters, where they're like, oh my God, we have to go to his office and now he's going to be asking questions there. But it was funny because and I think at that time it was like more, you're scared because you would ask questions and you would not know. But then that actually gave you the perspective of like, okay, I really need to get to read what's going on, and then you get the pulse of the markets there. And I think he really helped in terms of shaping what my knowledge has been in terms of the markets, because it was mostly like he was challenging. So I think what I'm trying to tell here is that the leaders need to be appreciative of
Yeah.
what you do, but at the same time, they need to challenge you, because it's
Mhm.
not always hunky dory. It's also important to challenge your thoughts, so that that helps you in terms of the growth. So I think leaders are very important in your career, and a good leader definitely gets you to a level, even if it's challenging, gets you to a level where you need to be, or you don't even realize that you need to be there. But when you get there, you're like, okay, this was something that was definitely missing in me, and this person actually got through that.
Yeah, might I add, it's also your mindset, Srishti. I'm sure a lot of people, they would have not been okay. Like you said, that people would get nervous entering into his cabin because you always have to be prepared and you never know what he's going to ask. But just the very fact that you flipped the situation and you were like, all right, I'm going to prepare and I'm going to stay ahead of the game because it's helping me grow and keep a perspective all the time, irrespective of whatever he's going to ask. So I think having a good perspective along with a leader who's nurturing and bringing out that aspect of yours, that is a potent combination. So both the
Yeah,
things have to
absolutely.
be at par. Alrighty.
Absolutely.
So moving on to my favorite segment, which is identity, motherhood, and evolution. Tell us,
Mhm.
becoming a mother adds an entirely new lens to ambition and leadership, right? So how has this chapter shifted the way you think about time, priorities, and success?
I think success is, and also I mean, not talking about success, but I think in terms of time management, I think I always thought that I was great at time management when it was, and it was mostly professionally. Now I am literally trying to squeeze every little thing in the timing when my daughter is sleeping. It has been a great phase so far, and I think it's mostly integrating my professional and personal life, I guess, because that's very important at this point, that there needs to be in harmony in both of them. And also I think I have been fortunate enough. I have a very supportive spouse who actually helps with a lot of different things. So that gives me a lot of space in terms of doing my stuff as well. So it's not just I focus on one thing, but I get to do both the things together. I think professionally as well. I mean, right now I'm on my well-deserved maternity leave, but my plans in terms of moving ahead in my career as well, I think both of them are aligned, and we have a game plan at our house, that how it's going to be, how
Already.
it's managed already. Yes. So it's fun, and I think my daughter has been great so far as well. She hasn't been too much of a fuss baby, so I think all of that has been good. So knock on the wood. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm excited about the future that lies ahead.
We're also very excited, by the way. We're also wanting to see how she grows up. And she's also been very accommodating. She understands when mama has work or papa has work. So she's going to
Oh
be a
yes,
nicer
totally
kid at
yes.
that time. All right, tell us, how do you envision navigating presence both professionally and personally as your career continues to evolve?
I think in terms of the career focus, I think I am very happy where I am right now. I love my organization where I'm working at the moment, and also in terms of the work that I do. What I really think about the future is in terms of learning through, and also, I mean, I think it's a learning is a continuous process. It never stops, whatever level you're at. So
Mhm.
I think learning, definitely yes, deepening my understanding of a lot of different things that I'm involved in. And personally, I think in terms of that, I think being a good mother at this point, which is very important. And I think, yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you've answered it so very well. And talking about being a good mother, we hear about her quirks and we hear how you're both managing, and I think it's also sweet. All right, we're going to move a little ahead. So, this is my question in that segment. As you look forward, Srishti, what kind of impact do you want your work to create? And this impact, when we're talking about beyond the titles and beyond the roles.
Yeah, I think it's mostly about how people see me as a professional,
Hmm.
and what they think of me, how reliable I am to them,
Hmm.
and what impact I am putting, both in terms of the work that I do and also in terms of different projects that I'm involved in. I think reliability is very important because
Hmm.
people need to have that confidence in you to give you the tasks that you're involved in. And I
Hmm.
think that would be something where I would be in terms of, like, I'm very focused on, I want to achieve this, and I want people to have a good thought in terms of whenever there's a task that comes up and they're like, okay, she can do it. And why? Because they rely on you, because they have confidence in you. And that is something that I think should be uh, is what I really thrive for. Otherwise, I mean, earlier, if I was thinking about it when I was young, it was mostly visibility. So,
Visible.
but now, yeah, but now I think more than visibility, it's more about how much trust and impact that you make. So that's more important than being visible and being vocal
Yeah.
around.
Shashi, you've seen at such an early age, you've seen a lot of growth, which clearly says about you as a professional, having had the opportunity of working through 4 different countries, which is also kind of a dream for a lot of people, but you've had that opportunity. So tell us, how do you think your personal and professional goals align today compared to earlier versions of yourself? Now that you have a daughter, and we've heard about you wanting people to trust you way more, which is one of your goals. But you did tell us already in the previous one where things have shifted from wanting visibility to now reliability. But in one straight line, how would you say that?
I think, and also, like I've already mentioned in my previous discussions as well, I think harmony is something that's very important both in professional and personal life. I am still to go back to work at this point, and so I would see how things go. But I think what I am very clear, and also we as a family are very clear about, is that professional and personal life would be integrated in terms
Hmm.
of a harmony that we want to maintain in both of them. there needs to be uh, there needs to be harmony, otherwise it's going to be very difficult. I think
Yeah.
there and I think I'm pretty confident that when I go back to work, there is going to be a sufficient amount of time dedicated to work and also to my personal life, and also both of us are going to be managing our works together. So I think it's very important, and what I'm going to do is mostly just align my thoughts and work through that.
Perfect. Because I had the third question, but I think you've answered already, but I'm still going to ask, which is, what does success feel like now?
Success right now, and I think yes, I have answered that, is mostly my zeal to work, reliability, accountability, uh, being an amazing mother to my daughter, and raising a good family, I guess. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Alrighty, we've come towards the very end of the whole recording. And you know that this podcast is called Unapologetic Me for a reason. So, in this phase of your life and career, if I may ask, what are you the most unapologetic about today? What would you say?
I think. And this is a very, very nice question, very interesting. I think it's mostly being myself.
Hmm.
I am, like you mentioned, unapologetic me. I
Hmm.
think you have to be yourself. Just be yourself, be out there, and just explore the world, explore your profession, explore your thoughts as you like. There are going to be challenges, there are going to be bottlenecks, but I think once you believe in yourself, just don't be apologetic for who you are, because that's what the uniqueness that you bring to the table, and that's what is something that is very important to anybody, because that is something that nobody can take away from you. So don't be apologetic for that, just be out there and the world is yours.
Lovely answer. Might I just say that you're the epitome of someone who's done professionally so very well. And at the same time, now you have motherhood. It's a different trajectory altogether. But the way you see life, and such a good answer of blending them both, because you can't have them in silos, which then creates chaos. But then just the very thought that you want to integrate them both and give enough time and attention to both profession and person says a lot about you as a individual and how you view life. I'm so glad we made time through your busy schedule while you're managing your cute little daughter. And then what do you think of this recording now?
I think it was amazing. And once again, thanks for having me over, because I know it was long due for us to do this, but it was an amazing experience, I think, and you're doing an amazing work in terms of getting the thoughts of people out to the world, and also for people to learn through different things, different aspects of different things that people do in their lives and their careers. And I think it brings a lot of understanding, a lot of exposure to a lot of people who want to listen. I myself have listened to a lot of your podcasts already, and I think they all have been in different perspectives of life and amazing experiences of what people carry through, not just professionally but also personally. So keep up the good work. I really appreciate your work, and good luck for the future as well.
Thank you. And might I also add to everyone who's going to listen and watch, this is not staged. She's completely saying it from her heart. This is a different
Absolutely,
thing.
yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. If there's one thing about this conversation which makes this clear, it's this. Leadership isn't about having all the answers, it's about having the self awareness to grow into better questions. Shrishti's journey reminds us that careers don't follow straight lines, and they're not supposed to. They stretch across countries, responsibilities, identities, and chapters of life we never really fully planned for. What stayed consistent wasn't a title or a role, but a grounded sense of accountability, curiosity, and intention. And maybe that's the real takeaway. You don't outgrow ambition, you refine it. Unapologetic Me is about celebrating that evolution, the bold moves, the quiet recalibrations, and the confidence to own every version of yourself along the way. So, thank you, Shrishti, for bringing your honesty, depth, and heart into this conversation, and to everyone listening. Whatever chapter you're in, lean into it fully. This is me, Ekta, your host, and until next time, stay unapologetically you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ekta.